Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Fusion of Honor, where we talk about everything that happens when it comes to MLW Fusion and Ring of Honor. Now, there's not that much to talk about when it comes to Fusion and MLW this week. They are on hiatus until July 10th, when they will be in Ness's backyard of Philly, when they are at the 2300 Arena for their special show. But we do have some little bit of news that kind of adds a nice twist on where we see MLW going in the future. But before I can get into any of that, I got to introduce my tag team partner who helps me break all of this stuff down when it comes to MLW or Ring of Honor. And you guys know who it is. It's the three-time baby-making champ. This is Ness. Sir, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing mighty fine, man. This was a good episode of Ring of Honor and a good episode of Women of Honor, man. They just hitting all cylinders this week, so couldn't help but be entertained.
Absolutely, absolutely. And guys, before we get into it, just remember to hit that like button, comment, share, subscribe if you haven't already. We are in a new era of True Heel Heat. We finally are able to be monetized thanks to all of the support that you guys have given us, and we are going to use that monetization power to further enhance all the things that we do for you guys, all of the amazing wrestling that we talk about and comment on and critique. So thank you. If you were part of the if you were helping to put the wheels on the car back in the day, we appreciate you. And if you are now getting into the I guess tractor trailer or giant bus that we are on now, this train track. I guess now we're on a train. We'll put it that way. We have another cars on the train. If you're part of that there, we appreciate you. We appreciate all of everybody who is in part of the True Heel Heat family. And that's why we are talking about this today. Let's talk about family. Let's talk about people who, we do what we do because you guys believe in us. Let's talk about people who believe. That's going to be the subject of MLW's second show. It's going to be a show that follows Azteca Underground. We saw at the season finale of MLW that Dario Cueto is back. We don't know how exactly all of this is transpiring, who exactly is the people, if there's any funding behind him with Azteca Underground. We don't know any of that stuff yet, but we will find out more on this second show that MLW is going to have. Court Bauer was talking about it this week. I'm kind of interested to see how they do all this, especially if we're going to see some kind of crossover between Fusion itself and Azteca Underground. What are they going to treat it as two separate things altogether? How are they going to do all of that? But Ness, last week we were talking about how this show has kind of become the one-stop shop for Lucha Libre for true heels, and now we find this out that we're going to have our own Lucha Libre show. I know that you are just hoping that Bandito, Flamita, and Rey Horus can somehow make it onto Azteca Underground. But what do you think about this new show? This I guess we don't know much about the concept yet, but what do you think about it?
It's definitely has me interested. I can't wait to see what's going on, because if it's anything like how Lucha Underground was, I know it's going to be pretty damn good. The production was always top notch for me, and I just want to see what they do with the talent, because the majority of the guys and girls that were on this show, they're in other companies right now. So the big heavy hitters. So it's just like, are they going to bring up new talent? Are they going to reach out to the promotions that are interested in actually working through the forbidden door? So it's a lot to take in right now, and I'm ready to see where it goes.
Yeah, it's interesting because I don't know how exactly the legal side of it all is, whether or not, Lucha Underground, the trademark, the intellectual property and all that is still owned by the parent network, or the parent company of El Rey. Is this connected to that? And if so, will that potentially maybe dissuade some people from wanting to work with them? Because, we can't forget they had to go through lawsuits to be able to work. Yeah. So that's a whole side of things that's gonna make this kind of spicy and kind of interesting. But if they're looking for people who were part of the original Lucha Underground, I heard Alize needs some work.
Oh my
that
God.
she needs to chop, so you never know.
That's the one person that came to mind. I was like, well, never mind, because she was with another company, but that attitude.
But yeah, as we build, that's somebody that I guess Ring of Honor could potentially bring in for their women's division Wednesdays. But let's talk about that. Let's talk about what we saw this week on that women's show. It was Miranda Alize taking on Trish Adora. This match just under 10 minutes long. It was 9 minutes 54 seconds. A really strong match. I liked this one a lot. It had good pacing back and forth. It had both sides getting in their moveset and showing what they bring to the dance. We saw some good promo work even beforehand with the promo videos. I like this match a lot. I think it set up both women particularly well for the tournament itself, and I really liked that this match, as opposed to the 4 women that was in the tag match from a little while ago, both of them received tickets of gold to the tournament. So we know that Miranda Alize and Trish Adora will both be in the tournament. What did you think about the match, and are you looking forward to seeing them in the tournament? Maybe having a rematch down the road.
Yeah, this actually was a very strong match. I want to say that since the revamping of Women of Honor, this probably is my favorite match. I think this was the most strongest. 2 totally different individuals in themselves. Trish Adora, just, she being a taller athlete, for as far as women's athletes go. And then, my favorite, the Lucha Libre, Luchadora, and the Miranda Alize. So they both brought their own styles and their own personalities. And like you said, the promo work, I really dug the promo, the opening promo from Trish Adora. I'm familiar with her. I haven't seen a lot of her work, but I am very familiar of who she is and what she represents. And then also, again, as a Lucha Libre fan, being introduced to Miranda Alize, that was another thing that I appreciated. And then just them going out there, having the match, it was very, very well deserving for both of these ladies to receive entrance to the Women of Honor title tournament. And I wouldn't mind seeing another a rematch down the line, or to see them be matched up against some of one of the ladies that's already in it, in Roxy, or another hopeful that I keep clamoring for in Lainey Luck. So this whole revamping of the Women of Honor, the women's division, it's on point right now. I can't even as much shit that we give Maria Kanellis, she's the figurehead, so we'll just go with that. But everything is flowing right now, and I'm really enjoying this overall.
That's true. And I mean, just think, it was not too long ago when we were talking about them bringing this back, we were questioning how exactly they were going to do it and who they were going to get. And thus far, they have pulled some very, very big names. That's something that Ring of Honor has done pretty well recently, is bringing in new talent and finding ways to make them work. And no one stands out to me more when it comes to that than the essential character EC3. So let's talk about this week's episode of Ring of Honor Television. I thought when we first were getting the announcements and we were finding out about this opening match, this opening tag team match, I felt as though this was taped before Final Battle. Like it felt that way. And because we saw, so this team up is Ec3 and Flip Gordon versus the Briscoes. Now, during the promo videos, we see the Briscoe brothers talking specifically. They're referencing we're both back on the boat. So that was part of that, exchange back and forth that they were having around Final Battle time, right after Final Battle. And there also was the fact that Flip was paid off by EC3 to cost them the tag title shot. So it just felt as though they kind of taped this. Maybe it's not as current as we think it is. And then also the announcers, maybe the announcers, there was a botch there, because when Flip was coming out, they said, this is your TV main event, and it was the opening match. So that was like, it was a little weird. So I was like, all right, cool, whatever, let's go into it. But I forgot about all of that once the match actually started. This was a well done tag match, you would think that that EC3 and Flip Gordon were actually a team. Like, they were pretty well oiled together for people who have not really worked together that much. And I think that the Briscoes, I mean, we know what we get with the Briscoes. We're gonna get that. You're gonna get that kung fu action. Let's not. And that was actually really funny when they did the promo video with Quinn and Mark just takes the mic and he's like, I'm gonna tear you. Oh God, crazy ass Mark Briscoe is back. But this match had some nice spots, nice moments, and I liked the ending. The ending happens when Flip Gordon sneaks a chair into the ring, and while the ref is getting the chair out of the ring, he hits Mark with Jay Briscoe's chain. EC3 does not see this, hits his finisher, which the first part seemed weird, and then the reverse DDT was fine. But the first part of it felt kind of off. But gets the pin, gets the win without seeing or knowing what Flip Gordon did. Now, for somebody who was preaching, his whole thing was, is there still honor in wrestling, and is there honor in Ring of Honor? And that was the basis of the feud between him and Jay Briscoe. This can't sit well with EC3. Like, this is not how he would want to win. Meanwhile, you have somebody who quite literally says mercenary in their name and is willing to take whatever route it takes to get the win. This was an interesting pairing just because of that. So I have to anticipate that there's going to be some kind of friction between EC3 and Flip Gordon in the coming weeks. I know that I was watching the Ring of Honor Week by Week on YouTube, and Quinn McKay did a backstage interview with EC3 asking about that, and he said he was asking her, she was asking him about the chain, and he said that on the subject of the chain, I will be silent, but just know there will be violence. So I'm sure that there's going to be some kind of issue between him and Flip Gordon going forward. But what do you think about this match? How did you like the ending? And do you see what I see maybe about Flip Gordon and EC3 having some issues in the future?
Yeah, I definitely see that, because at this point, Jay Briscoe and EC3 have each other's respect. EC3 and Mark Briscoe never really had a problem, but they shook hands as well. So the respect is there now. And at this point, EC3 really doesn't want to, I won't say he doesn't want to mess that up, but the honor is there, and he's going to do things honorable. And that's what he did in this match. He wrestled like it was a regular match. He wasn't doing the underhanded tactic, the sneaky heel things that Flip Gordon was doing. And while Gordon was doing that, you can see the disdain and the body language from EC3 that he's like, no, that's not how we do things. And on the other hand, you have Flip Gordon, the guy that I'm going to get the job done no matter what I have to do, no matter what I got to put these people through. I just need a victory. I got to win. So they're definitely going to clash. I don't know when. I don't know, because at this point, they're putting a lot on these episodes. So it quite possibly can. It doesn't have to be a match. It doesn't have to be anything big. But, next week they could probably say, oh, this happened last week after the match, and these guys confront each other, and we just go from there. But at some point, I can definitely agree. I feel that EC3 is going to approach Flip Gordon and say, hey, look, like, I don't know what you did, because he didn't see it. But from the things that he did see in the match, again, from him just being that heel and just not wrestling, not even just really wrestling, just being an asshole during the match, he could just let him know, like, look, man, like, I don't like that. These guys are good people. This, that, and the third. And then, Flip Gordon's just like, look, I don't care about none of that. I'm here to rack up wins. I don't care how I get it done. I just need to do it. So, and then on the other hand, there's Jay Briscoe. Now, the honor's there, but Jay could possibly say, hey, at this point, I don't give a fuck what if it was Flip Gordon, you were teaming with Flip Gordon, so now I want to kick both of your asses. But, I think at this point, him and EC3 can finally actually just talk things out and come to some type of understanding and agreement. But yeah, Jay Briscoe is just that live wire, you know. He's the X factor here. So I think that he might. I think he might, but hopefully he doesn't. You know, at this point, like I said, him and EC3, the honors there. These guys are at least on good terms in our to what I understand. But yeah, it's not gonna sit well. It's not gonna sit well with EC3 that his partner was doing things underhanded way. It's definitely not sitting well with the Briscoes, especially Mark, since he's the one that got clocked with the chain. So, and you know, he ate the pin. So yeah, I just want to see where this goes from there. Like, I'm just scared for EC3, you know, because he didn't do anything, and Jay Briscoe's like, he don't care, you know, he don't care. You are on his team, so you know you're automatically you're guilty by association. Like, Jay Briscoe don't care.
Jay Briscoe is somebody who does not care. One might even say that he is an equal opportunity ass whooper when it comes to this sort of thing. But we can't really call him that because somebody else already has that title, and that is none other than Ness's second favorite Ring of Honor wrestler behind Dak Draper, Brian Johnson, the Mecca Brian Johnson. Let's put some respect on this man's name. He cuts an amazing promo, as he kind of always does.
Yeah.
I hope he does not show any of these promos to his doctors, to his physicians, because the entire time they would just be worried about him trying to give himself an aneurysm. The vein in his head and forehead just gets bigger, throbbing more. He just gets so angry. But that's something that works in his favor because you feel it. Whether or not you agree with Brian Johnson, whether you like him, whether you dislike him, whether you hate him, whether you love him, you got to say one thing. The man knows how to talk, and he knows how to get a response out of people. And that's something that is super, super important when it comes to wrestling. And here he is cutting a promo, and he is saying that he went to Ring of Honor management, and he has demanded an open challenge. Anybody on the roster, or as he put it, any man, woman, or child. Because he is, after all, an equal opportunity ass whooper. So Brian Johnson is there for his match, is eagerly waiting to find out who is going to be his opponent, and who comes out none other than Danhausen. Now, I don't know for those keeping count, but these guys have been going back and forth. There's been 3 matches in the trilogy. The trilogy that's up there with, you know, it's Ospreay Shingo, Okada Omega, Danhausen Johnson. Now, as Danhausen puts it, he has beaten Brian Johnstone at least 30 times, between 7 and 10 times.
Decimated him.
So he thought that this would be a great opportunity housing for somebody else, and so he went and found Johnson a gift housing, and it turns out to be none other like the last person I thought of. But in reality, it should have been the first person I thought of. Yeah. PCO. Now, this is hilarious for many reasons. One, it's funny because, like, Brian Johnson, who has, like, this very serious character, takes wrestling serious, etc., why don't people respect me, has to believe and act that is a machine walking towards him. It's a half man, half cyborg being coming towards him. And the second thing is that the equal opportunity ass whooper immediately tries to get out of having this match. He was like, no, the open challenge is against Danhausen, not PCO. So naturally, it's going to be against PCO. We get Danhausen on commentary, which I thought was really hilarious. That he had some nice moments there. And this match starts. It's just over 7 minutes long. They I think they did actually a pretty good job for what they were going to try to do. So basically, they start in the ring, they go around back and forth. Brian Johnson gets back bumped on over the barricade. He hits the concrete, and then all of a sudden, PCO had a malfunction and started attacking ringside people. He attacked the timekeeper. He was gonna go after the referee. And then suddenly throws himself through a barricade. Yeah. And Roosh was like, "I would have done that for you. Like, you didn't need to do that to yourself. You could have just asked me. I would have walked down there, thrown you through the barricade. No, everything would have been fine." But he throws himself through the barricade, lands right next to Brian Johnson. He gets PCO back in the ring. They're starting to go back and forth. PCO hits his moonsault, and Brian Johnson does the impossible. He does what Roosh couldn't do. He kicks out of that moonsault. The match eventually ends when PCO puts in, I think, basically a version of a mandible claw. And commentary had a very good moment where they asked Danhausen if this is how he gets the teeth that are in the jar. And Danhausen just goes, "Maybe." that was absolutely great. So as a diversion from the serious match that we opened with, I thought this was very well done. PCO gets the win over Brian Johnson. It's another week. It's another weakness where they're not putting respect on Brian Johnson's name. Tell me how you feel about this one.
I am outraged. I am appalled. We have to Ring of Honor management, if anybody watches this, which I think you should, put some respect on the Mecca's name. That, first of all, that promo is, oh my God. That was a thing of beauty. I'm watching it, and it's funny. The reason why I enjoyed it so much is because we talked about this on either last week's episode or just one of these episodes, that Ring of Honor's roster is deep. It's deep. We have all these factions with at least 3 or 4 people in it. And he speaks on that. He said, there's groups of the family and LFI. There's a group of guys that want to purify the company and the foundation. There's guys that have their own promotion, talking about Shane Taylor Promotions. Guys that think, that violence is the answer, Violence Unlimited. And he's just going on and on. And then he says, but one man standing on an island by himself with a matchbook full of matches and a gasoline tank big enough to burn his whole place down. It's Brian Johnson. And I said, you know what? You damn right. You damn right, Brian Johnson. You are here. And he can just talk his ass off. And that's what he does. The best thing he does. Again, the wrestling isn't to the level of his talking, but he has time to get there. But he's just so captivating, and it's so entertaining just hearing him talk. In my opinion, people like Danhausen doesn't want to hear Brian Johnstone talk anymore. And I don't blame him. If you're not entertained and you don't want to hear this, then hearing it definitely is a pain in the ass, and it makes your eardrums bleed, things of that nature. But this whole promo, I loved it from start to finish. He's just like on 10. Oh man, I can't praise it enough. This guy can just, oh man, it's great. I'm a huge fan. But then the match came, and this is where it went from being extremely serious, like you said, to now it's going to be the comedy come in, because as he said, he's an equal opportunity ass whooper. He could beat men, women, children, anyone on God's green earth. So when PCO comes out, he says, no, I wanted to fight a man. I want to wrestle a man, not a monster. Not a monster, but, we're having to the equal opportunity. Got to back up your words. So, and again, for somebody like Danhausen, people that aren't fond of Brian Johnson, him getting his ass kicked for a good 90% of this match, they would be happy about that until PCO started glitching and threw himself through the barricade. Then, Brian Johnson got some offense, and then PCO just snapped back into it, and it was over from there. And yeah, that version of the mandible claw, it looked like it hurt. It looked like he was trying to separate his jaw from the rest of his skull. And that probably is how Danhausen gets his teeth. But overall, it was enjoyable. It was very entertaining. And now I just want to see how Brian Johnson bounces back from this, because you give him 5 minutes, however long, just to talk, he's going to have some words. He's going to have a lot to say. He's never someone short of anything to say. So we can just say that. But yeah, I love how that they're giving him this platform as well, because again, in my opinion, he's not the greatest in ring, but he is a hell of a character. He's probably, in my opinion, top 5 characters in Ring of Honor right now. Just where he can elicit emotion out of people. If you're a fan, then you appreciate his work. If you're not a fan and you hate him, then you can't wait to see him get his ass kicked. So that's just what professional wrestling is. As long as you have people some type of caring about you, either that they hate you or they love you, you're on a path to greatness. And he's not a GOAT yet, but he's on his way to be there, and I'm just glad to be here for it.
Yeah, the irony that Danhausen was tired of hearing Brian Johnstone talk and got PCO, who ends the match by having his hand in Johnston's mouth and the tongue, is absolutely hilarious, and well done on them for that storytelling. But I like what you said, the idea of being here to see things and see how people progress, see how they grow and how they develop, and that is our main event in a nutshell. That is our main event in a nutshell. We have the debut of Quinn McKay. Quinn McKay, who has been the kind of nerdy, spunky kind of backstage interviewer and reporter this whole time for Ring of Honor. She has been pushed to the limit by the Allure, by Angelina Love and Mandy Leon. We saw at Final Battle that Maria made the match that between these two with the stipulation that should Quinn win, she is in the Women of Honor tournament, and should Angelina win, I believe it was, she gets a first round bye.
Yeah.
So we've kind of had a little bit of a build to this match. The promo videos are actually pretty well done, and not a bad match. Not a bad match. This is a well thought out storyline, a well thought out story in the ring where Angelina Love has such a level of experience and power over Quinn McKay that she is able to let loose that overconfidence, that heel ego that allows her to be going for a pin and stop the pin. Have Quinn in a submission hold, and the hand is getting pulled. It's going to be the third time she can win the match, but she lets go of the hold because she wants to hurt Quinn McKay more. But the problem is that the story of Quinn McKay is the story of the underdog. It's a story of the heart of a fighter, and she continues to try to use these times to bounce back. And what I will say that I really enjoyed about this match was Caprice and Riccaboni losing their minds anytime like she did a hip toss or anything. Well, they were just losing their minds with happiness because you felt the connection of, this is our colleague, this is our coworker, we want to see her do very well, and we feel as though Angelina is nothing but a bully. And I liked all that, just all of everything about this, and I think the most was how they had the finish of the match. Yeah. And it spoke to veteran versus rookie.
Yes.
And the finish here is that Mandy Leon has been taunting Quinn the entirety of the match. And now Quinn McKay finally has Angelina Love in this submission move. Angelina tries to get to the ropes, and Quinn is able to pull her back And when she pulled her back, I was like, oh my God, they might actually have her win. Like
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, she could actually win this. And Mandy gets up on the ropes, says one more time, you will never be a wrestler. Quinn loses her cool. It's the straw that breaks the camel's back. She lets go of the submission move, comes over to confront Mandy. Mandy hops off the apron. Quinn turns around, eats Botox injection from Angelina Love, takes the pin. 1, 2, 3. That's all she wrote. But it was a very well thought out match. It was a good use of Mandy Leon. Everybody there looked good. And I got to say, like, we're talking about progression. We talk about how we're going to be able to witness somebody like Eli Isom and his rise. I think we're going to be seeing some great things out of Quinn McKay down the road. If this is just almost basically like a one-off, for it being a one-off, they did a very good job. And if it's the start of something for her, even better. So I really enjoyed this main event. What did you think?
Yeah, I enjoyed it as well. Man, I love the way the way you described it with the veteran versus the rookie, because that's basically what it was. They even said, they showed Quinn McKay's history that, she was first in love with roller derby. So that's where, the majority of her physicality comes from. And, her just having the minimum years in the wrestling business compared to Angelina Love that we've seen over the decades and all the body of work that she's put in. And then just the match itself, again, that veteran status, that veteran mind going over Quinn McKay, just because she doesn't have that experience that Angelina Love has. And it's just like, what can you do? You can't match up with it if even if you don't have the experience. But somewhere deep down inside Quinn McKay, she fought hard. She fought back, and to what it looked like it was going to be a victory, but that rookie mistake of letting someone get in your head, because if the best way to combat Mandy Leon just ranting and raving and just doing all that, trying to distract her, keep the hold on and look directly at Mandy and say, yeah, this will be you next, or anything along those lines. Get the victory, finish the job, get the win, then deal with everything. But as we've said, she doesn't have that experience, so it played into the story. She let her emotions get the best of her. She released the hold, got up, got distracted, turns around, eats the Botox injection, and then it's over. But the story itself during the match, again, the inexperience but her will to fight, that's great. I hope it's not a one-off. Even if this storyline, far as Angelina and Quinn McKay, if that kind of comes to an end quickly or whatever the case may be, I just hope that they continue to use Quinn. Although she is, the backstage segment, and even with that, they played up on that, how that's not something that she wanted to do. It just happened. It really just happened. She's in Ring of Honor to wrestle, but I believe it just manifested into something else, mainly during the pandemic. So she was just in the backstage, or the beginning of the pandemic, I should say, like a year or so before. It was just something that just, like she said, snowballed into like, this is what I'm doing now. But she's there to wrestle. Kudos actually to Ring of Honor management for putting a Women of Honor match, honestly, on their main show and as the main event. That's major. I don't know too much how many times that's happened. This is my first time seeing it. So I'm not gonna say it's the first time, but it's just my first time witnessing that. So that is something major. And both these ladies, they use, I'll add Mandy in as well. They all use this time very well to tell this story. The match itself was good, and now I'm invested, as you are as well, I'm sure. We want to see where this goes. I know we say that about a lot of things, but this is actually a story that I want to see where this goes. Does Quinn fight back. Is it just done here? We know Angelina has the bye, the first round bye. Will Maria somehow say, "Hey, look, you did very well in this match. I want to still give you the opportunity to be in Women of Honor title tournament, for the championship." There's so many ways they can go with this and so much they can do that I wouldn't be mad at anything, And then the following week, next week, Quinn will get back on in the backstage area with doing what she does. And I'm sure, just like Caprice Coleman and Ian Riccaboni was doing this week, how they were bigging her up and congratulating her and saying, they were loving everything that she was doing. I'm sure they can do it again next week. She'll probably be feeling down on herself because she knows that she shouldn't have let go of the hold. She should have finished the job and got the win. But again, that's that inexperience. So as things go on down the line, she'll possibly gain that experience, then meet Angelina Love again. So, they come the head again. This time she can get the victory. That's the ultimate underdog story, which you got to take that loss. The underdog has to take a loss for the people to get invested. So when that win does come, it's bigger. There's more emotion to it. There's people who are more invested and they can actually enjoy it more. So I pretty much, we probably see that's where they're going with it. But yeah, I just want to see how they build it as the weeks and months come ahead.
Yeah, and I think one of the beautiful things about it is that because she is a backstage interviewer, even if they don't put her in the tournament, you just make sure that she interviews Angelina after every single match that Angelina does have in the tournament. Yeah. And that will help continue and progress the storyline, and we can see how they go with it, where they want to take that one. And I think they might have something on their hands with this one. And she can be a cornerstone of the women's division, which is crazy. It's crazy because this was her first televised match. We're already saying that she can, but she has a way to connect with the audience, and we know that because they wouldn't have her be the backstage interviewer if she wasn't able to work a camera and work a microphone and talk with people very well. So I want to see how they go about this, and we got a glimpse of what we're gonna get next week when we get a 6-man title match. I think it's a title match. The Shane Taylor Promotions versus Primal Fear. We're going to have that one. And we are going to have the clash between Josh the Goods Woods and Silas Young. We are getting some good, high-quality TV matches on TV with Ring of Honor right now. And it's going to be that's going to be a good episode. So who do you got between Josh the Goods Woods and Silas Young?
Oh, man. I want to say Josh, for the fact that I think if they're going to progress this longer, then I can say Silas, but I think Josh needs this win. He, at this point, he's pretty much, I'm going to say he's not, might not be certain of himself. He knows that he wanted to go on and work on his singles career. Silas was there no, if you really want to win, you need to come back and work with me. Josh was like, all right, well, we'll see how it works out. And clearly it didn't. So now it's just now he needs to reassure not only to the fans and Ring of Honor, the Ring of Honor faithful, the management and the company itself, he needs to reassure himself that he can be a star and get the job done and get some comeuppance on Silas Young for turning his back on him.
Yeah, I kind of want to see a situation where Josh gets the win and then Silas destroys him after the match, something like that, to get that heat continued on Silas, and they're able to continue the storyline from there where Josh is I beat you, but I won the battle, but I clearly haven't won the war. And that's where they go with that. But guys, that will be next week. We'll be talking about that next week, and we'll be getting closer, another week down to getting towards that MLW July 10th episode. We'll be learning more about all of that as we continue to progress. So stick with us, guys, as we continue on that journey here, Fusion of Honor. But Ness, tell the people where they can find you, sir.
You guys can follow me on Twitter at Skinny_Kravitz. You can follow me on Instagram at Skinny__Kravitz right here on True Hill Heat YouTube channel. One half of Fusion of Honor with the StatKing, man of 1,004 numbers, where we review MLW Fusion, currently on a break. And Ring of Honor and also Women of Honor. You can catch me on Blunt Impact. I'm sorry, I was like Blunts and Jabronis. Blunt Impact and Blunts and Jabronis with Chris G. I'm also 1/3 of NX3 with Chris G and the RAC, Romeo Nathan Cologne. Also the Roundtable Rebel. I'm on the Roundtables. And once we come back from another break, you can hear my illustrious voice on True Toxicity.
And guys, you can catch me here on Fusion of Honor as well as Dark Power, where we talk about AEW Dark, Elevation, and NWA Power, and always in our Facebook groups, getting into fun conversations with you guys. So on behalf of myself and on behalf of the three-time baby-making champ, Ness, we want to thank you once again for watching. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.